Hello and welcome to Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We're doing a bit of a fantasy twist this week. With draft is in the rear view window, and now we're getting on to fantasy drafts. And to join us this week to talk about one of our favourite charity fantasy tournaments is Matt from the JTT Cup, the Joshua Tarrant Trust. Matt, please introduce yourself. Tell us more about the JTT Cup off the bat, please.
Hi, yeah, really pleased to be on and be talking about the JTT Cup. So it's a UK-based charity best ball. I had the concept of it it was actually during the 2020 season, so during the COVID year, but I didn't kind of come up with the idea until the October, so I missed the boat for 2020. But essentially during COVID, the Joshua Tarrant Trust, which is a local charity to me over in England, was brought to my attention by one of my friends who's actually another NFL fan. He's a big Bears fan. In fact, he likes all Chicago sports. Bless him. And during COVID, so he does two jobs. So he's a window cleaner by day, and he does DJing and entertaining at night. So during COVID, he couldn't work either of those professions in the UK.
Yeah.
And he set up what became a really successful Facebook group, actually called the Disco Kitchen. And essentially, he set up his decks in his kitchen on a Friday and a Saturday, and he would stream live to all these people that couldn't go out because obviously we weren't allowed to go. And as the group grew, he started adding a fundraising element, and he started fundraising money. So people around the town that I live in would donate prizes, and he would do a live raffle. People would pay into the raffle, and the proceeds would go to the Joshua Tarrant Trust. And he ended up, over the kind of year and a half to 2 years of COVID, actually raising over £100,000. So what's that? About $125,000 for the Joshua Tarrant Trust. So during that October, I thought I'd been using Twitter, Twitter as it was then, to kind of get to know some UK-based NFL fans and fantasy football fans. And by that kind of October, I'd had, I guess, a moderate following. And I thought I'd already played in a couple of other charity events that are based in the UK, so the Warrior Bowl and the 5 Yard Rush FFCC that year. And I thought I might be able to do something here to raise money for the Joshua Tarrant Trust using this, moderate circle of people that I can kind of pull on. Set it up for the 2021 season. Wasn't sure where it was going to go. First year we had 60 people. We had 6 divisions of 10. Thought best ball because less maintenance, more likely to get people in.
Yeah.
And we raised £765 for them, so about $900 to $1,000. And didn't really know year one where it would kind of go from there. Didn't even know if I'd do it in the second year. But we did, and it's grown really successfully. We've had an increase in year-on-year participants every single year, up to and including last year, and our fundraising has obviously mirrored that as well, in that we've grown our fundraising pot year on year, and the current fundraising total, including the funds raised so far for 2026, is just short of £60,000. So really, never thought when I set it up, sat in this very room that I've just been talking to you about off air, that we built COVID, this bar, sat out here on an October evening in 2020 on my own, watching Red Zone, thinking, let's set this up, to now 6 years later, talking to you about it. And in the last couple of years, it is the largest UK-based charity tournament in terms of entrance, so which I'm really proud of.
That is, I'm kind of struggling for words. I was going to ask what the total amount was there. £60,000 is unbelievable. And the Joshua Tarrant Trust, I know you said it's local to you. What is it they do?
So it was set up by a set of bereaved parents. So Sean and Denise Tarrant are a set of parents that live in the town where I live. And one of their sons, Joshua, he was diagnosed with a brain tumour when he was 6 or 7 years old. Obviously, absolutely heartbreaking news for anybody, especially a set of parents with a young, a young child, and he has older brothers as well. he wasn't really given a great prognosis. He did manage to fight it through lots of rounds of chemo and everything else that you have for nearly 10 years, but he did pass away on the 29th of April of the year that he turned 16. And Sean and Denise are an incredible couple. I've had the opportunity to meet them in 2023 for the first time. We'd already done 2 years of the JTT Cup and we were setting up for year 3. And hearing their story kind of firsthand and how everything they had to go through and how it obviously affected them and their relationship. They won't mind me talking about it because they've been very candid about it when talking to me. And their their relationship with their other children and stuff like that. Huge, life-changing issue for any set of parents that has a child diagnosed with that kind of illness. So they set the Joshua Tarrant Trust up, and they now raise funds through that, and they provide care at Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge in the UK.
Yep.
For the care of other children with brain cancer, with brain tumours, and their families. So support their families through it as well. It's a local run charity. There's no, they don't have any kind of national help or anything like that. They do all their own marketing. They do all their own fundraising. They do lots of different events. And, we've been really, really proud to be able to raise the amount that we have for them for what is an incredible, all charities are great, don't get me wrong, but I think one of the things that has helped the tournament grow so big is it's such a local charity with such a good cause. All charities are a great cause, but they have to work so hard to raise the money that they do without any kind of media budget, marketing budget, anything like that. So being able to raise as much as we have just through fantasy sports, and I'll talk a bit later, but we've had the JTT Cup, which is the original tournament, but we now run lots of different contests across the year to raise money for them as well. So that includes the £60,000 or nearly includes all of the contests that we've run down the last 5 years.
Wonderful, yeah. What a moving charity that is, and you're absolutely right. These smaller charities don't get the coverage because there's just so much. So yeah, it's incredible that you do all that work for them. And yeah, £60,000 and 100 plus. You said the decks are kitchens in the decks. Does as well. That is really, it's truly life changing for so many families and so many youngsters who receive such bad luck early in their life. It's really moving and really inspiring. So thank you, Matt, for that. For doing all the work that leads to that, because it doesn't happen by accident. It is a labour of love. I talk about some of our podcasting as labour of love, but I mean that really puts it in significance of not quite so much. So yeah, thank you for doing all that work. I know that everyone in that area and people who use their services will be incredibly grateful as well. So yeah. Shout out yourself for that.
Thanks.
Great stuff. And that means that you're coming up to year 6 then.
Yes, yeah. So we're fully in the swing of things now. So we take a couple of months off after the season. So obviously the regular season finishes. We enjoy the playoffs as fans. I'm a Jets fan, so I'm always a neutral watching the playoffs.
Yeah.
The last few years we've run a Super Bowl fundraiser, which is kind of the end of the year for us. That's the end of our season, as it is for the league. And then we have a couple of months off. We kind of come back in April and start, banging the drums for the new year. For the first time last year, and we're doing it again, it'll be this week, on this Thursday, the 30th, is we hold a donation day. So Joshua passed away on the 29th of April.
Yep.
And for the first time last year, I came up with the idea that we would try and boost the charity, not on the day of his passing, because I felt that was a bit disrespectful, but close to. So the day after, and happens to fall last day of the month when lots of people get paid. So last year we said we're still going to run donations right through to the end of June, but we're going to try and raise as much as possible on April the 30th as possible. And we raised like 2,200 in one day, which was incredible. Yeah. And we're going to do that again. We're doing that again this week. So anybody who's kind of signed up and is looking to enter, we will encourage them to donate this Thursday the 30th. But donations and sign-ups are still open until the end of June, which is how we always run it, because we then draft in kind of mid-July.
Awesome. So, Thursday the 30th, that is when we're donating. That's when we're, sign up whenever, but donate the Thursday the 30th. Let's try and, beating 2,200 is going to be a big ask, but let's just get as much as we can in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every dollar, every penny, every pound is important and helps so much. This year, last year I was in the competition. So was our podcast duo, Paul and Joe done their own team. Basically, I have my own sleeper login. They don't. So they just done one as a podcast. I done one as myself. They done a lot better than me, to be fair. A lot of my Superflex leagues fell as JJ McCarthy did. I had a lot of faith that Kevin O'Connell, you can put whoever at quarterback back there. If Sam Darnold can win 14 games, anybody can do it. It turns out that's not true. Sam Darnold can go and win a Super Bowl with Seattle, and JJ McCarthy can look like Max Brosmer. So, I didn't do so well, but Joe and Paul, they powered through Drake May, so they done a lot better.
Yes.
So obviously last year the format was super flex, a lot of flexes. And I think it was just start one running back, one wide receiver, one tight end, one quarterback, then a super flex. And I think a lot of other flexes were in there as well. And big play bonuses. Is that going to be consistent this year? Is that something that we see year to year, or are we seeing any changes this year?
Yeah, so I like to make small tweaks to the scoring every year. But one thing that has remained consistent for all the years is big play bonuses. So 40 or 50 yard plus touchdowns, whether it be throws, rushing or receiving. So bonus points for that. We've had years where it's been point per first down. We've had it where it's been half point per first down. The scoring itself hasn't been finalised for this year yet. We have finalised the roster set up for this year, but one thing I am going to definitely be doing is nerfing quarterback points this year. Ooh. So there's a little bit of a sneak preview for you. And the reason for that is we've decided this year. So I say I have a team of myself and 13 guys who help me. And, they'll tell you that I do most of the work, which I do, but they help me a lot with comms. So last year we had 65 divisions, and they looked after 5 divisions each, and I send them the comms, and then they forward them that stuff on. So this year we've decided to go with Ultra Flex. So every roster spot will be Super Flex, every single one.
Ooh, and that's how many starters is that? Was that like 8 or 10 last year?
It'll be 9. I think it'll be 9 this year.
8 or 10.
I want to be able to add. I want to be able to add depth without having to increase the draft by any more positions. Because obviously in the season-long best ball, you do have to have a deeper draft. So I think we ran 24 rounds last year. I want to keep it at that, but I think I'm removing one starting roster spot, going down from 10 to 9. But it will be, and that's the reason for nerfing quarterback points. So I want to put quarterbacks on a more even keel with other positions, and not give advantage to people who just want to draft, 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the first few rounds. So, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of different strategies people take with that completely flexible roster. And it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out in terms of the winning lineup come early January.
Absolutely. Are you able to talk about how that's been nerfed, or is that behind secret doors?
Well, I've got so what I do on Sleeper is I set up a master division. I did that in February, and I play around with the settings on that until I'm happy. And then every time, obviously, we create a new division, as donations roll in, we then just make a copy of that. So probably a couple of weeks away from having that finalised. I have done some nerfing of points, but I want to do a little bit more so that projected points kind of sit roughly in line with other positions. So can't reveal that yet. But you are the first show I've been on that have had that exclusive of the roster makeup. So nobody else has been knowing that. So whoever's listening today, they'll be the first people that know what the roster setup for 2026 is.
Love it, and I love Ultraflex. I've done it a couple of occasions myself, and I think I personally think it's the best format because, like you say, you get such interesting team builds, and the divisions. Is it 10 or 12 teams in the division?
It's 10 divisions. 10. And
I don't know how many divisions will be this year, but there'll be more than 100, I'm sure. But like 100 people, I mean, sorry, 10 different divisions are going to have 10 completely different builds per division.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I bet I'd be very surprised if you have a single, I can't think of the word, but like duplicated lineup across any division in this setup. I think this is fascinating. I love it. It's a big change from Superflex. I'm sure you'll get people who try and draft, nothing but quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll get people who try and avoid them because, by nerf scoring, I'm going to guess, and I am guessing here, like someone who is inaccurate, throws a lot of picks and doesn't rush is probably going to get you negative points or certainly not very many points. I remember, I think it was Fantasy Cares a few years ago, their Fantasy Cares Eliminators had kind of reverse score. It was basically, if you're not efficient, you're going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And every time you get a target, you lose points, but if you catch it, you get a point.
Yeah.
And there was so many players. I think like the safest thing to do was just draft defenses.
Yeah.
Because like they were the only people who scored points every single week, and maybe kickers and maybe punters. I think John Bosch, who does the Fantasy Care scoring for the Eliminators, I think he went crazy. He had punters in that season. It's like punters can't get negative points, unless they decide to throw the ball, which few of them do. Pat McAfee's not in the league anymore. So, I'm all for innovation and let's get nuts, essentially, in an approach to fantasy football, especially something like best ball. You're raising money for charity. At the end of the day, the winner is the Joshua Tarrant Trust.
Yeah.
Like, the ultimate winner, I don't want to go away promising things, but I know the winner last year got a Scott Fishbowl spot. I'm going to presume they get it again this year.
Yeah.
Quote me on that if they don't. Okay, great. I'll go on badger Scott if that hasn't already been agreed to. But like the real winner is the Joshua Tarrant Trust. It is all those families who get support that they need. Let's be ultimately blunt about it, and they don't get it on the national level. So, people like you, Matt, step up and do it for them. So this gives us a chance to really get fun with our fantasy. We don't need to worry about I see it a lot in DFS and best ball fantasy. Like, have I got 22% of this player or 25%? I don't want to get too much, don't want to get too little. It's like, okay, cool. Well, this is my charity tournament. I'm going to spend, 10 quid and it's gone. I'm not getting no ROI. It is just for fun. I get to have banter with my league mates and see how, in my case, badly my team does every week. And I don't mind if JJ McCarthy shits the bed every week because the money's already spent and the money's been spent on a great cause. I'm not expecting an ROI on it because there isn't one coming. So I love the chance to get freaky with these leagues. So And any Jets bonuses this year? I know you said you're a Jets fan. Anything like Jets player double points? No.
Well, double of zero is zero, isn't it? So that's not really there's no real advantage there. So I think I was on a different pod last week, and they said, "Have you got any tips for like do's and don'ts for best ball? You've been running big best ball tournaments for 5 years." And I said, don't draft Jets players. I think from a strategy point of view, we've tweaked the scoring each year, not massively, and we have tweaked the rosters a bit each year. But one thing has run true all 5 years is that the winner has been someone that's picked up that kind of diamond in the rough post kind of round 16. Someone who might only perform enough to get in their lineup 4 or 5 weeks of the year, but when they do, it's a big amount of points. The first year Puka Nakua was in the league, I think his average draft position in our draft was round 21, but he just went off year one, and so that's where if I was going to give people one tip, it wouldn't be who you're going for in the top 5. It'd be who you're going for in the kind of 16th to 20th rounds that could make the difference.
I'm just looking at my draft from last year, just while we're talking there. I'm quite pleased with my late picks. I should have done well. I had Orion de Gadsden in the 21st round.
Right.
I had Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt in round 24.
Right.
And I had the Jets' second best receiver in the 25th round. I mean, Adonai Mitchell, sure, he had a couple of sneaky little games in there.
Once he learned how to catch,
Harold Fanning went in the 25th round. That team must have done well. That is Aaron St. Denise. They had Isaac Tesla as well. Sorry, I could just sit and again look through my old drafts for hours on end and pat myself on the back for the 3 good picks I made out of 26. But I probably shouldn't do that. Who else did I? JJ McCarthy was it? I took a crap. If Tucker Kraft hadn't gone down, I think that's a league winner. I think that's ultimately what we're going to say here. Tank Bigsby, what a player, what a pick. Braylon Allen didn't quite. Anyway, I will stop. And we'll let you get on with organising and up in the JTT Cup for 2026. So as we say, Thursday the 30th is donation day. Yep. That's when we want everyone to go and donate. Already signed up for the league. We will put the link for signing up and where to donate. Joshua Tarrant Trust.org.uk, I believe the link is. Joshua Tarrant Trust.org.uk to see all the great work they're doing at the charity. Before I let you go, Matt, is there anything else you'd like to say about either the tournament itself or the trust itself?
No, I think the trust is an amazing cause. Like I say, every charity is. I've seen, not firsthand. I haven't been to the hospital and see the work that they do, but I get to understand it from talking to Sean and Denise regularly. They are incredible, and anyone who enjoys fantasy, and especially if they enjoy baseball, for £10, $15. Or more, if you can give it, then great. Just to have a bit of fun, that the sleeper chats are always quite interesting. There's a good bit of banter flying around. And this year in previous years we've always had targets. We've had sign-up targets. We've had donation targets. This year we don't have a target. We just want to raise as much as we can. We won't raise as much as we did last year because for a number of reasons, and we talked off air, didn't we? But essentially because I don't have the time this year to do the relentless chasing that you have to do in June to get everyone, over the line. But I think realistically, it'd be great if we raise 5 figures again. We've already raised $4,500 this year, and we've still got obviously the bulk of the JTT donations to come in, the JTT Cup donations, and then all the other odd bits and pieces we do. We did a draft competition last week. We did something for the Masters, so we do stuff for lots of different sports, not just the NFL, and it's really fun to do. And anybody who's watching or listening who hasn't been involved before, I strongly encourage you to. I know times are tough at the moment, but times are tougher for children with brain tumours. That's what I'll leave you with.
1,000%. Great message. And we'll reiterate that. Just go sign up, go donate. You can find a tenner in your pocket, I'm very sure, for an incredibly good cause. So that is the JTT Cup. Go follow Matt at JTT Cup on Twitter. I think you're on Blue Sky. You haven't used it much, but let's get you back on Blue Sky as well. And go follow and go support. It's very, very important all the time, but never more than right now. So get on with it. And Thursday the 30th is even more so. So let's do it then. Thank you, Matt, for your time. I cannot wait to play in the Ultra Flex League this year, and I'm very, very excited about it already, trying to plan out my lineup in my head. So, I'll see you there in the summer, and we'll be donating Thursday the 30th from Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Thanks for your time.